There was a woman named Madam Ifeoma who worked as a senior accountant in Abuja. Her husband, Chief Emeka, owned a successful construction company, and together they lived in a peaceful estate with their only son, Daniel, a calm and intelligent 16-year-old boy who loved books and football. The family lived comfortably, not extravagantly, but well enough to enjoy a stable and happy life. Every morning, the house buzzed with activity. Chief Emeka would prepare for meetings, Madam Ifeoma hurried to the office, and Daniel rushed around looking for one school item or another before the driver dropped him at school, because both parents were always busy. They hired a live-in maid named Chinelo. Chinelo came from a small village in Enugu State through a church connection. The pastor who introduced her described her as respectful, hardworking, and trustworthy. Out of kindness, the family welcomed her warmly. They gave her a neat room beside the boys' quarters, bought her clothes during holidays, and even helped her send money home to her widowed mother. First, Chinelo seemed grateful. She cleaned the house well, cooked delicious meals, and behaved politely around everyone. Daniel treated her like an older sister. Sometimes after school, he sat in the kitchen talking to her while she prepared dinner. She laughed with him, advised him about school, and acted loyal to the family, but secretly, something dangerous had started growing inside her heart. Whenever Madam Ifeoma sent her to buy groceries using her ATM card, Chinelo would stop at a nearby POS shop before returning home. Pretending to confirm transactions, she would quietly check the account balance every single time. The numbers shocked her. Millions, sometimes tens of millions. She also knew the pins to both Madam Ifeoma's and Chief Emeka's ATM cards because the couple trusted her completely. They had never imagined she could misuse that trust. Slowly, greed began poisoning her thoughts. Then one evening, everything changed. Chief Emeka returned home unusually excited. He burst through the front door smiling so widely that even Daniel noticed immediately. "Daddy, what happened?" Daniel asked. Chief Emeka laughed loudly and announced, "I just secured an international road contract worth billions." Madam Ifeoma screamed with joy and hugged him tightly. Daniel jumped around the living room celebrating. The entire house felt alive with happiness, but from the kitchen doorway, Chinelo stood silently listening. Billions, that word echoed inside her head all night. Later, while everyone slept, she sat alone on her bed in darkness thinking dangerous thoughts. She imagined taking the ATM cards. She imagined withdrawing huge amounts of money. Then another thought entered her mind, darker than the first. What if the family disappeared completely? The thought frightened her at first, but greed kept feeding it until it no longer sounded impossible. Over the next few days, she secretly bought a poisonous substance from an herbal trader in Wu's market. She hid it carefully inside an old cream container beneath her mattress. Then she waited for the perfect opportunity. The opportunity came on a Saturday afternoon. The family attended a Thanksgiving service for Chief Emeka's new contract, while Chinelo remained home to prepare lunch. She cooked pounded yam and egusi soup, one of Chief Emeka's favorite meals. The soup smelled rich and delicious, but just before serving it, Chinelo removed the hidden poison and slowly mixed it into the pot. Her hands trembled, her heart pounded loudly. Still, she continued. After setting the dining table, she hurried back to her room and packed her belongings into 2 traveling bags. She planned to steal the ATM cards immediately after the family collapsed from the poisoned meal. Then she would disappear forever. When the family returned from church, they were cheerful and hungry. Daniel jokingly complained about how long the church service had lasted while Madam Ifeoma laughed. Everyone sat at the dining table, but just before they started eating, Chief Emeka received an urgent phone call from a government official, requesting immediate clarification about some contract documents. "I'll be back in less than an hour," he said, quickly while grabbing his car keys. After he left, Madam Ifeoma suddenly lost her appetite. "Let's wait for your father," she told Daniel. Daniel agreed, and both of them left the dining room. Inside her room, Chinelo sat confused. Why had nobody started eating? Minutes passed, Nothing happened. Then Daniel remembered the estate's elderly security guard, Musa, who often worked long hours without proper meals. Feeling kind, Daniel packed some of the food into a disposable plate and carried it to the gate. Uncle Musa, my mom said you should eat, Daniel said warmly. The old man smiled gratefully. May God bless your family, my son. Daniel returned inside without knowing he had unknowingly saved his entire household. About 2 hours later, panic erupted at the gate. Musa had collapsed violently after eating. He was vomiting uncontrollably and struggling to breathe. Madam Ifeoma screamed for help while neighbors rushed over. They quickly drove Musa to a nearby hospital. Doctors worked urgently before finally delivering terrible news. The man was poisoned, one doctor said gravely. Madam Ifeoma froze. Poisoned? The doctor nodded. It came from something he ate recently. Immediately, Daniel remembered the food he had taken from the dining table. Fear filled the room. Chief Emeka arrived shortly afterward, and the family rushed home in complete silence. Back at the house, Chinelo tried acting normal, pretending to clean the sitting room. Chief Emeka looked directly at her. Musa is in the hospital, he said coldly. What happened, sir? She asked nervously. He was poisoned, Chinelo gasped dramatically. Jesus! Poisoned? The food came from this house, Madam Ifeoma whispered painfully. Chinelo immediately began crying and swearing innocence. She called on God, on her late father, on everything she could think of. Madam Ifeoma wanted desperately to believe her, but Chief Emeka remained silent for a long moment before speaking. If you are innocent, he said calmly, eat the soup. The room fell silent. Chinelo's face changed instantly. Sir, I already ate before they came back. Chief Emeka slowly carried a bowl of the soup from the dining table and placed it before her. Eat. Her hands started shaking. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Finally, knowing she was trapped, Chinelo lifted the spoon and swallowed a few mouthfuls. Within minutes, sweat covered her forehead. Her breathing became uneven. Then suddenly she collapsed onto the floor. Daniel screamed, Madam Ifeoma burst into tears. An ambulance arrived shortly afterward. As paramedics lifted Chinelo onto the stretcher, she grabbed Madam Ifeoma's hand weakly. I'm sorry, she whispered. I wanted the money. I thought if all of you died, nobody would know. Madam Ifeoma stared at her in disbelief and heartbreak. We treated you like family, she whispered. Tears rolled down Chinelo's face. I know. At the hospital, police officers discovered the truth quickly. They found her packed bags hidden beneath her bed, the written ATM pins inside a notebook, and the remaining poison concealed inside her room. Musa survived after several days of treatment, but Chinelo did not. She died the following morning under police watch before she could even stand trial. The incident changed the family forever. Chief Emeka became more careful about trust. Madam Ifeoma struggled for months with the pain of betrayal, and Daniel never forgot the terrifying lesson that evil can hide behind even the warmest smile. Sometimes, the people we help the most are fighting battles inside themselves that we cannot see, and sometimes, greed destroys not only innocent people but the greedy person too. Moral lessons: never repay kindness with wickedness. Trust is precious, and betraying it brings destruction. Subscribe, like, share, and comment for more interesting videos.